All right, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different than what you're probably used to seeing on my channel. If you've followed along for some time, you know that I mostly post mountain bike trail guides, ride-alongs, bike reviews, that sort of stuff. I've had this channel for a little over a year now. Sort of started out as a hobby, just a way to sort of put my footage somewhere that I would capture on my GoPro and also just sort of keep my creative juices flowing. But over time, over the last year or so, as more folks have subscribed to the channel and more folks have found my videos, I've received a lot of questions through comment sections and messages. Some people have emailed me, and I also just get a lot of questions in general from folks who sort of know that I mountain bike as a recreational sport, whether it be friends or family members that I take on rides with me, or just in general. So figured I would do a video today answering some of those questions. What I've done is sort of listed out top 10 questions that I've received over the last year or so, and figured I would do a ride along Q&A and answer some of those. So if you can't tell, I'm here at my local favorite, Chino Hill State Park. I've been trying to do as much riding here as I can because the season for riding here is very quickly going to be coming to an end. You can probably tell a lot of the brush here is starting to dry out. The rattlesnakes are making their seasonal appearances a lot earlier than we're used to seeing them, so I'm also being a little bit more cautious about where I'm riding here. But yeah, I will take you all along on this ride, and I'll be answering questions sort of one by one. I've got them listed off of my phone. It's the best thing I could think of, and we'll just answer some questions for you all. Have a good time. All right, so the first question that I have, and this is probably one that I receive most frequently through my different communication channels or just folks that I talk to on a regular basis, is what kind of bike do I have? And so the answer is I have a few different bikes, but for mountain bike purposes, my primary mountain bike is a Specialized Turbo Levo. And I guess to be more precise or more exact, it's a 2023 Gen 3 Specialized Turbo Levo Comp Alloy. So it's a full suspension e-mountain bike. Got it last year on sale, or actually maybe, yeah, early last year on sale. And it's, I mean, if you know mountain bikes, you probably know it's a higher end, upper mid-tier e-mountain bike, and it's a lot of fun. This is the bike that I use on probably 90% of my rides, and it serves as my primary mountain bike. And prior to this mountain bike, I had a giant, gosh, I can't even remember the name, but a full suspension giant e-mountain bike. And this bike has just been a world of difference. Sorry, picking up a little speed. It's just been a world of difference in terms of performance and overall feel and comfort. It's just been a really great bike to have. But outside of this e-mountain bike, I do have a hardtail e-mountain bike that sort of serves as my buddy bike. And I'm hoping I can talk a little bit more about that in an upcoming video, because it's more of an entry-level e-mountain bike and it's a hardtail. So it might be a good option for folks that are just getting into the sport or wanting to sort of transition to their first e-mountain bike. So those are my two mountain bikes. I also have a cargo bike from Lectric that I use to lug my kids around town. It has sort of an orbiter cage in the back, and they have a lot of fun on that, just sort of cruising to the park, going to and from school. That bike's a lot of fun. And then lastly, I have a fat tire e-bike that HiKnight sent me a month or two ago, and that bike's a lot of fun for sort of the same purpose as that cargo bike, just getting around. It's got the chunky tires to do some off-road riding if I wanted to. It's got a throttle on it, so it's more so a commuter bike that I just sort of cruise around with and have some fun on. But again, my primary mountain bike, and if you can, you know, afford it or are willing to make the investment, I would highly recommend a Specialized Turbo Levo. Probably one of the higher end models if you're doing more aggressive mountain biking or pretty consistent / regular mountain biking. It's a solid bike. So yeah, there's that. Okay, the next question is, what are my favorite trails, or what is my favorite trail? So I live closer to North OC, sort of in between North Orange County and San Bernardino County. So naturally, I spend most of my time on trails around this general area or region. Gosh, and you know, I would say my favorite trails are categorized. So when I want just scenic views, flowy single track, something that's a little bit closer to home, honestly, I'm here pretty often at the Chino Hills State Park. There's so much to explore here. I'm here probably once a week, and honestly, I don't think I've explored more than, I don't know, 50% of this park. So this is one of my favorites for literally just scenery. I mean, look at this, it's hard to beat. If I'm looking for something a little more technical, a little bit more of a, or with a little bit more of a bike park feel, I like Sycamore Canyon Wilderness Park in Riverside. I've been spending a good amount of time there over the last few months just for that reason. It's a place where I sort of level up and upskill on my riding capabilities, and you get some really cool groomed and locally built trails there that are just a lot of fun, really flowy, some jump lines, stuff like that, if you're into that sort of a thing. And then honestly, I'll probably get some laughs for this one, but the Fullerton Loop, that was the first mountain bike trail that I rode back in 2010, 2011, before e-bikes were even an option. And the Fully Loop is just so nostalgic. It never really gets old. It's always fun. It's got a little bit of everything for every type of rider. Most people say it's a beginner trail, which I would agree with, but if you want technical stuff, it has it. It has a single track. More recently, it's got a few new little jump lines and things like that. So Fully Loop is definitely on my top favorites list as well, and I spend a good amount of time there. So yeah, I'd say those three are my regular go-tos. Chino Hills State Park, Sycamore Canyon and Riverside, and the Fullerton Loop is just a classic. So yeah, depending on what you're looking for, all of those trails have a lot to offer in their own right. All right, next frequently asked question is, how often do I ride? Gosh, pretty consistently, I'd say I ride about 2 to 3 times a week. Definitely at least once on the weekends. And then I'll usually try to get at least 1 or 2 rides in during the week after work. Mountain biking really serves as one of my only forms of exercise, and so I often feel like if I miss too many days, or if I only go once a week, that I just feel kind of gross, kind of bloated. Even on a e-bike, you know, getting on the bike a few times a week really does help and makes a difference with just activity, you know, getting some fresh air, getting some exercise, getting the heart rate up a little bit. So yeah, on a average week, probably 3 times a week, I'd say I do, gosh, I don't know, around 30 miles on average per week, maybe 40 if I do some group rides where we're trekking out a little bit further. But yeah, 2 to 3 times a week, probably around 30 to 40 miles per week is what I'm riding on a pretty regular basis. All right, next question is, how much is your bike? And or I'll also translate this as, is mountain biking expensive? I've gotten both questions in the past. And if you know mountain biking, the short answer is yes, it's expensive. Mountain biking is definitely an investment sport. When I started, I sort of started with an entry-level budget mountain bike years and years and years ago. Again, e-bikes weren't even an option back then. I probably paid about $500-600 for just a giant hardtail. And that's where I sort of first introduced myself to mountain biking and learned that it was something that I really enjoyed doing. Now, years later, sort of being back into it with e-bikes on the market, or in the market as an option, it's expensive. I mean, if you know folks that mountain bike, they will not sugarcoat it when they say that it's a pretty expensive sport. My bike that I'm riding right now, the Specialized Turbo Levo Comp Alloy, I got this thing on sale, so let me start by saying that, and still paid about $4,500 for the bike that I'm on right now. And that was a deal, like an actual good deal that I was proud to find and felt good about buying. So on average, if you're looking for sort of a mid-tier mountain bike, something solid that has good components and that's gonna last you a while, maybe something name brand, something that you can feel confident on and trust, you're gonna be spending at least, realistically, $3,500 or so on a full suspension mountain bike, especially if it's an e-mountain bike. You can expect to pay a little bit more. That being said, there are, you know, more value friendly options out in the market. It might not be the name brands that you're used to see, but there are options out there that offer you decent components that serve more as a beginner slash introductory bike for folks that are just wanting to explore the sport, figure out if it's something that's gonna stick with them or not. Those options are out there, but even still, you'll probably end up spending at least a couple grand. I'd say $2,000 is the very bare minimum that you're going to pay for even a hardtail mountain bike with just, you know, sort of decent components. Bikes can get anywhere up to, they can easily get up to like the 5,000 to 7,000 range. There are some mountain bikes that are 5 digits. I don't have a need for those, but there are people that buy them and ride them and love them. So I guess there's a bike and a price for everyone. But yeah, long story short, mountain biking is an investment sport. I would say if you're looking to get into it, rent a bike, buy a bike pre-owned even. You'll save some money buying pre-owned, and try it out for a while. See how it feels. If you feel like the bike that you're on is sort of limiting your capability or your ability to grow, sell that bike and upgrade to another one. And that's sort of what I've done over time, is just upgraded my bikes little by little, ride one for a bit, sell it, get some money back, put it towards an upgraded bike. And yeah, so the bikes themselves are pretty expensive. You'll also have to factor in things like accessories, basic accessories like helmets, gloves, bells. All of these things add up, and those are additional costs that you have to factor in. And then you think about how you're going to get your bike places like a quality bike rack, which can easily cost you, gosh, $500 to $1,000 depending on the type of rack you want. You know, all that to say, the price really does add up. But if you're going to stick with it and you really enjoy doing it, it's worth every dollar in my opinion. Again, mountain biking serves as sort of my one of my only forms of exercise, and it's a form of exercise that I enjoy doing. So I have no problem getting out on the trails a few times a week and getting my money's worth for the bike that I have and all the accessories that I purchased over time. So yeah, there's that. All right, don't exactly know where I'm going now. I'm just riding for the sake of riding and find some time to talk. All right, next question. And I get this one sort of a lot. What riding app do you use, or do you use Strava? The answer is, I have Strava. Do I use it consistently? No, I always forget to turn on my Strava. And I know people are super religious about using Strava, and they can't do a ride without it. I have it on my phone. I've used it in the past, but I'm super inconsistent with it. Oftentimes I'm just too excited and want to get on the trail as fast as I can, and I just forget to even, you know, track my rides or anything like that. But I do get that question pretty often, so maybe what I can do over the next year, a little late New Year's resolution, is I'll try to use it more consistently, because I know oftentimes I get people that ask if I have the trail guide for certain trails that I'm on, and Strava obviously serves that purpose. So maybe that'll be my commitment for this year, is try to use Strava more consistently. All right, next frequently asked question, and maybe I'll bust a little U-turn right here and start heading back before it gets a little bit darker. Next question is, what is my camera setup? What kind of gear do I use for my videos? So primarily I use my GoPro. I have a GoPro Hero 11. That's providing the footage that you see right now. I know there are newer versions of this camera available. The 11 works just fine for me, so maybe I'll upgrade in the future, but right now it still looks pretty sharp. I also recently invested in a drone, a DJI Neo 2, which is a really cool drone slash camera. It actually uses AI tracking to follow you on your rides, so you don't have to control it manually. It'll actually just lock onto you as a person and follow you on your rides. It gives you some really cool footage. The footage is amazing. The problem is, I quickly realized that you can't use these things anywhere. I tried using it at the state park here in Chino Hills. I was hoping to use it at places like Fullerton and Sycamore Canyon. There's just all these regulations and rules essentially that are super confusing, not very easy to understand, about where you can and can't fly drones. And so yeah, I mean, I haven't given it much use, but the footage is pretty awesome. The chances that I have had to use it, the footage is incredible. So mostly I'm using my GoPro, sometimes the drone if I'm allowed to use it wherever I'm at, and then, you know, as needed, I'll use my iPhone as well, mostly for review videos and that sort of a thing. But yeah, that's my general setup. Another question that I get pretty often is, do I always ride solo? I mean, you've probably noticed that in most of the videos that I post on YouTube, I'm usually by myself, and that's intentional. I prefer to film videos when I'm on my solo rides, but I do sometimes ride with groups. I'm part of a few mountain biking groups here in Southern California that I'll ride with occasionally, and that's always a lot of fun to have a big group ride of 10 to 20 people that are sort of pushing each other to go a little bit harder, upskill on their abilities, if you will. And pretty often I'll also just go with like buddies or friends. I've got a couple of friends that ride mountain bikes and we'll go out sometimes, or I'll have people that see my videos on like my personal social media pages and they'll want to try it out, and so I have that extra buddy bike for them, and we'll do some riding. But yeah, for the most part I sort of prefer to go solo, especially when I'm on a time crunch and I don't have half a day or a full day to go riding, just want to go quickly and at my own pace. I'll do that. But yeah, it is nice every once in a while to have some company. But yeah. All right, another question I've received, and this is a question that I've received from sort of brands and companies, is do I do product reviews? And the answer is yes, with a caveat. I will not do a product review for a brand, even if they're sending me free gear or if it's a paid gig, anything like that, if I have to lie about my actual feelings of the product. And what I mean by that is, you know, I've had companies actually send me products in exchange for a review, and I would try out that product first, and if I didn't like it or think that it would be a good product to promote to the channel, I would just send it back. I've actually done that before, and you know, my intent is never to lie or mislead people into buying something that they don't need or that's not going to last them or that isn't good quality for their purposes. So, you know, I try to be transparent about that with companies as they reach out. Yeah, but I do get offers sometimes, hoping to do a few more reviews with products that I already know I like in the near future. So we'll see where that lands. But yeah, again, my goal is just to be informative, helpful, and I'm not going to do product reviews just for the sake of getting free stuff. Again, mountain biking is expensive. Buying these products is expensive. So if I can't give you all some sort of a discount code, or if it's going to be something that I know is really just going to waste your money at the end of the day, I'm not going to promote it. And I've done that before, where I've actually sent products back because I didn't feel confident in their abilities to hold up, and I wasn't going to go on the channel and try to sell it to people for the sake of me getting a commission or something like that. So yeah, I do reviews, but I also keep it real, and that's sort of my rule that I have for myself and for this channel in general. All right, last question. What is the best advice you would give someone who is thinking about getting into mountain biking or who is just starting out with mountain biking? Best advice I can give you is do it for you. I mentioned earlier, mountain biking is definitely an investment sport. You're going to be paying some money to get into it. You're going to be paying some money to sustain it through maintenance, buying necessary accessories, things like that. But for people that do it and get it, they get it. They understand the value, they understand the feeling, they know how therapeutic mountain biking can be, they know how relaxing it can be, and just fun. I mean, it's hard to find a form of exercise that you actually enjoy. I think back to, you know, my younger years when I'd have like a treadmill in the garage, and I would just run on this treadmill, killing my ankles and staring at a wall. Like, that's not fun, and I definitely couldn't keep consistent with that type of exercise. So finding something like mountain biking, which is enjoyable, it's fun, it gets you outside, you get some fresh air, and you get a workout. Whether you have an e-bike or not, you're gonna get a workout either way. It checks a lot of boxes for me. So my advice to somebody else that's thinking about getting into the sport is do it for you. Make sure you're gonna stick with it, and get some good use out of whatever bike you're buying, because all bikes are pretty expensive nowadays. And yeah, just use it as a form of exercise as a form of entertainment and getting outside. It can be a social sport, although it is sometimes hard to coordinate schedules to get out on rides with buddies and things like that. But regardless, I mean, I have a lot of fun doing this on my own. And again, it sort of serves multiple purposes for me when it comes to exercise, even just like mental health, like being able to be on a bike, pedaling, and sort of being forced to think about something other than your problems because you're trying to not fall off the side of a cliff. It's helpful in that way. So if you look at it from that perspective, you know, it's a really great sport to be a part of and to be involved with. And if you can get past the initial cost that's associated with buying your first bike, I think you'll learn to really enjoy it and love it. And what's not to love? I mean, you don't very often get to be in environments like this, where you're riding through trees, getting fresh air, crossing little mud creeks like this, which isn't great for my chain or any of those parts, but whatever, I'll wash it off later. It's just, I don't know, it's a fun sport. So do it for you, don't do it for anyone else. It can be a fun, like, family sport if you're willing to invest the money to get bikes for spouses, kids, what have you. But yeah, it's a fun sport. So if you can afford it, I'd say definitely give it a shot. All right, and I guess that'll do it for this video. Let me know if this Q&A was helpful in any way, shape, or form. Maybe down the road I'll do another one of these as more questions come in. And I think it's sort of worth letting you all know I am not a professional mountain biker by any means. It's a recreational sport for me, so I am not claiming to provide advice or answers based on some professional background. I am also not that technical of a rider. I do this for fun, and I also know my limitations. So if you're looking for like professional athlete perspectives and experience, I'm sure there are videos that will offer you that. But for me, this is just a fun sport, something to do to keep the blood flowing, keep the legs moving, and yeah, so do with that what you will. And if you're into videos like this, I mean, this one's sort of a one-off from what you'll usually see on my channel, but if you're into mountain bike videos, trail guides, ride-alongs, e-bike reviews, that is what I post on this channel. So feel free to subscribe, comment, like, what have you. And yeah, I will catch you all on the next one. Have a good one.